Hello and welcome to part 3 of Tour of the Line, and we jump straight in where we left off at Medstead Four Marks station. Heading out of the station into a deep cutting, we are on one of these single line sections. Now the problem with a single line is that trains can travel in both directions, so the signalling system needs to somehow ensure that two trains aren't going to meet each other head on. Lucky enough, our system is designed to do that, and we'll tell you about it in another video. The signal we're just passing the back of now is a new colour light signal. This will be part of the new signalling scheme and will control access to both platforms. And as we approach the summit, we go under Boynewood Road Bridge, a magnificent three-arch structure. The two signs on either side of the line signify the summit of the railway at 652 feet above sea level. From here, it's mostly downhill. We're now on a 1 in 60 gradient down towards Alton. Similar to Ropley soap cutting on the other side of Medstead Four Marks, the Shrave is also known for its adhesion issues. With a long, steep gradient of 1 in 60, it is a challenge for the local crews and one that takes a lot of skill to master. Now you may have noticed in the last few films we have a lot of grey cabinets dotted along the line. These contain signalling equipment, including systems to tell you where trains are using track circuitry, but we'll explain that in another video. The sides of the embankments are kept as clear from vegetation as possible. This reduces the amount of leaves that can fall on the line, but also reduces the amount of trees that can fall on the line. Just before we pass under Hampshire Bridge, you can see a fogman hut. Now, fogmen were people who went out in bad weather conditions and used a combination of detonators, flags and lamps to tell local crews about the signals ahead. The huts themselves were prefabricated in Exmouth Junction concrete works and were sent all around the southern region. Inside the hut, you can find a couple of home comforts, including a fire, seat with a bunker underneath it, a couple of hooks for flags and lamps, and a door. Nowadays we don't have fogmen, so they're not exactly kept to the same standard. Now we just passed under Hampshire Bridge. The bridge itself was actually specifically installed to link two parcels of land used for hunting. Coming out of the Shrave, we approach Kiln Lane Bridge. This bridge, like the other ones, as you can see, was designed for a double track bed rather than a single, but we all know what happened about that. Poking through the trees on the left, you can see the bluebells starting to flower. In April or May time, around this area of line, you can see a fantastic display. As we round the corner, on the right is another permanent way hut. These are for our track volunteers, in order to take shelter from the elements and have a quick break. Going over Northfield Lane, we are now on the long straight all the way down to Butts Junction. We're now approaching Alpha Tango 49, which is the distant for the Alton section. All the signals in Alton are colour light rather than semaphore, and the system itself can actually run itself automatically. It's detected our presence and has already set the route into the station, and will follow our journey from here. The chalk on the right hand side of the line is from Ropley. and that was the chalk that was dug out in order to create the new sidings. We're now approaching Butts Junction, and if you watched our last film you probably know what I'm about to say, for this is the point where one railway became three. The Basingstoke and Alton Light Railway joins us from the left, although is not too visible, not at least compared to the Meon Valley line, which is currently joining us in from the right. The Meon Valley was a 22¼ mile trip down to Fareham. The line is now lost now, but it is actually still possible to walk along large portions of the line by foot. Although some of the line is now in private land, so please don't walk along there. We're now passing over Butts Bridge, which takes us over Whitedown Lane. This bridge was recently replaced in order to support improvements to the area at this busy junction. And straight after the new bridge we pass over an original bridge which takes us over Butts Road. It may not look it, but this part of the line is unique. This is the only truly level part of the line on the whole railway. Unfortunately it doesn't last for too long and we find ourselves quickly back on a 1 in 100 gradient back down towards Alton. This part of the line had originally been double track all the way to Butts Junction. We've restored part of this to become a siding for long-term storage and some of our permanent way fleet. The illuminated signal we're just passing, that looks a bit like the national speed limit the wrong way round, is called a banner repeater signal. This is designed for a signal round the corner which is currently out of sight. The banner repeater tells the driver exactly what the signal is showing at that time. And as we pass under Turk Street Bridge, we can now see the signal that the banner repeater was relating to. Just before the crossover at the Meon Loop, the way we facilitate crossing trains at Alton, we pass over Lower Turk Street Bridge. If you come down on a gala, you may find yourself in the Meon Loop waiting for a couple minutes while we get another train out of the way. This is because we only have access to platform 3, so can physically only fit one train in the section. If we didn't have the Meon Loop, then we'd have to cross the trains at Medstead, so that would be one train down to Alton, turn around, one train back, and that will take a very long time. Alton signal box was actually based at Bentley, which is the next station along the line heading towards Waterloo. The system here is designed in two ways. It can either run with a signalman or run automatically without, which is what it's doing at the moment. As we get near the station you can see our mainline connection through to platform 2. This is the route that Flying Scotsman used to join us back in February. It's a fully signalled route and the signalman at Alton works in tandem with the signaller at Woking Area Signalling Centre. As we go over Paper Mill Lane Bridge, we get a clearer view of the station and also the water tower, which was originally based at Aldershot. The view at Alton has changed recently with the removal of a heritage footbridge which was originally at this end of the station. It was made redundant by the new one which was installed at the far end, but a local group of volunteers are working to restore it. And this leads us to the end of the line. Normally local crews would go just a little bit further and then the signalling system would run them round onto the other end. And that wraps it up for this mini-series of Tour the Line, heading all the way from Alsford to Alton, in more detail than I thought we'd go into. If you did enjoy this film and would like to support us in this unusual time, then please visit watercressline.co.uk/support. Apart from that, thanks for watching guys, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time for Things You Now Know.